It's week 4 of high school football, and I'm with Coach Dave Miller, head coach of the Fairmont Firebirds. Coach, started the GWalk season, so now we're starting all over again.
Right. Sounds good.
So, have some chance to take a few wins over here.
Well,
Let's review the LaSalle game. You can talk about the poise of your team after LaSalle took the lead in the fourth quarter to drive the field to get in position to win the game with a touchdown.
you talking about the last drive there?
Yes,
Yeah. I mean, it's something we practice a lot. Obviously we do on offense, and that situation for us is can be difficult. I think it has in years past. We put a lot of emphasis on it. Try to put our kids in that situation as much as we can, and that paid off. They seemed very comfortable executing the we call it green, but our 2-minute. We want to try to slow things down as much as possible up until that point. So to go from a really, really slow tempo to up tempo and doing things that we don't normally do, I thought we executed pretty well. J.J. Hill did a nice job just running the offense there and getting us down to, made a couple nice passes there at the end, a great decision, to get out of bounds on the one play. Nobody was open. So I think it's a product of them taking that very seriously and executing when we had to. So, it was good.
At the end of the game, there was no hesitation. So during the final drive down, 7 points, that you were, what made you decide to go for 2 points?
Well, it's the conventional wisdom number one, which you can whatever. I mean, you're on the road, you're supposed to do that. We don't always go by that. It really depends, to me, how we're playing on defense. And at that point, I didn't feel good. We had earned, having a chance. That was our chance, to have a chance to win the game. We asked the kids, and they didn't hesitate. They said, we want to go for it. The play call, I'm putting it in the hands of a kid that had a great night, Cam Thornton, with Nolan Stringer leading for him. And unfortunately, we did it against one of their best players, so it just kind of came down to, we execute a little better. We possibly get that, but I blame myself. I think I could have probably called a better, used a better formation maybe, or done that a little differently. But I'll go down with that anytime. I think 99.5% of the people around us had no question that's what we were going to do. So
On the 2-point attempt, a leg tackle by a LaSalle player kept Thornton from reaching the end zone. What was your impression of the called play?
Well, again, I just went through that, but it's I thought it was the right call. We have kind of 2-point plays that we have on our sheet, and that was right at the top. And Cameron had a nice night out on the edge. It's a little more compact down there, so just kind of came down to two good players. The one just made a little better play, and Cam almost broke it. So we're about a yard away. But really, in reality, we talked about it Saturday and Monday. It shouldn't come down to that. We just continue to do things or give things up, not take advantage of our opportunities. We have a penalty, on the drive before. Had gotten an interception. We took the ball. We had about 5 minutes to go, and I felt pretty good about us then. I think we had a really good play call there, and we had a penalty, and kind of got us behind the chains. And so if we go down, we're going to take all the time off the clock, go kick a field goal or score. And then we went that way. And there's probably several other things that could have happened in that game that it didn't have to come down to a 2-point conversion.
On LaSalle's game-winning drive, there were two 15-yard personal fouls. How do you correct that now that we're 3 weeks into the season?
Some of that stuff, we told them going in, that's going to happen. So you have to overcome it. What we talked about is just because they got 2 personal fouls doesn't mean we give up a touchdown. A field goal, maybe. We try to pride ourselves on making them, and I think the drive before was kind of indicative of what we're talking about there. And even the opening drive, we're trying to make them earn everything they get, and hopefully, they make a mistake and we can capitalize on it. We didn't. Those were opportunities. We had them in it was a 3rd and 20 or something like that, and they complete a pass. I just, it's stuff like that we've been doing and we have to get better on, and it's all fixable. That's the good thing. So, the penalties, were they there? Were they not? I don't know. They called them, so they were there. But
Okay. So I'm going to skip over the penalties. And my
Okay.
first question was about, other than the penalties, what are your thoughts on the offense that particular night?
I think we're playing fairly well, against two really good defenses. Three, if you count all three of our opponents, they're 8-1. Alter's lost, an overtime game to Cincinnati Taft, who's outstanding. So we've lost to three quality opponents, and we've moved the ball on all three. So I think our offense is doing a lot of good things right now. We're still inconsistent. We still go out and have a 3 and out, and it just we can't do that. We've got to possess the ball, and we can't have 3 and outs. Our punting game has been pretty solid, but we have to help the defense out. At this point, they're getting it. We're getting closer each week, but that was a good offense. We went against. So they're well coached. So we got to do better, just all the way across the board.
You had mentioned Taft, but LaSalle was no slouch either.
Not at all. None of these. I mean, LaSalle's 3-0. They blew out their first opponents. They want to be at the end of the year in the mix as state champs. I mean, I know how Coach McLaughlin does things. So they're very well coached. We're in their place and have a chance to, win the game at the end. I mean, what more can you ask for, I guess?
It was exciting for the fans, for sure.
Yeah, they tend to be, so.
Okay, Nolan Stringer's blocking for Logan Doty stood out. What are your thoughts?
I mean, on the edge, too. I think both Logan and Cam, too, getting him out there in space. Nolan's solid. I mean, he's a 2-year starter, one of our strongest kids on the team, so he'd tell you this himself. He's an extension of that offensive line and takes pride in what he does. It's not about him. There's no selfishness there with that young man. He and with a lot of our kids too, but him in particular. I mean, he's the guy that our team trusts. He's kind of we don't really have captains, but he and Egan are kind of our permanent captains who go out for coin tosses every game. So just a great kid, and like I said, very unselfish. Made a heck of a catch, and JJ a great throw to him on that touchdown, but the touchdown to get us to where we were able to try the 2-pointer. Just made a nice grab on that, and we trust him. So he does a lot of things really well.
1 week ago, the defense was out of position on several plays against Troutwood. LaSalle had more than 300 yards. Was that the case once again?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, we're struggling a little bit. This is unique for us. We're not, we're known for our defense, and I trust our defensive staff, with my life. I mean, Coach McDonald doesn't get enough credit. He's a great defensive coach, great defensive coordinator. Pat Roncalli, Josh Freeze, Anthony Pedro, Phil Drayton. Coach Bear, when he can be here, he's a captain in the Air Force, so we lose him a lot. Those guys do a great job getting our defense ready, but we've done some things too. I think we go into week 1 and we did some things this summer that we emphasized things we shouldn't have, but we have to get better. And again, it's exposed against really good teams. Like I said, I'm not taking anything away from who we played, but we pride ourselves on that, and for us to be where we need to be at the end of the season, this week going on, we have to get better on defense. We just have to. So,
all right, now let's talk about your next opponent, which is Centerville. It's a GWalk team.
Yep.
And they've played a rugged non-conference schedule. First of all, how do you prepare them going up against a first-year head coach?
Well, he's a first-year head coach, but he's been part of that staff since 2010, basically. So he's not new. They have a lot of the same guys over there. Brent Ullery's not the head coach anymore. So I think, if anything, there's changes on offense, but I see a lot of similarities. What they've done in the past, and they've obviously had our number. So we have to prepare. I like our first day of preparation, I think we took a step in the right direction starting on Saturday. And that's the big thing. We go back to last week, just one more thing on that. I didn't like our week of practice. And I told him, I said, we have to go in. There's no guarantees, but you have to take care of your process every day. And we didn't do that, so that's the biggest thing we're going to focus on is just, it's process, outcomes take care of themselves. We preach that constantly. So it's not really the opponent, it's us. We're playing ourselves each week. And as long as we can go into the game and say we've done everything we can preparation-wise, hey, whatever happens after that, go. It's good. We're good. So.
All right. Your impressions on quarterback Shane Cole, who has struggled this year?
Well, he struggled because of who they're playing. He's a good quarterback. I know that. He's a 2-year starter. Came in. I remember him as a sophomore coming in against Springfield when they were in the I think regional semifinals. 3 years ago when he's a sophomore, and you could tell he was going to be really good. He can beat you with his legs. He can also beat you with his arm, and we know. Again, you watch the film and you see what they're playing against, and it's like, throw that out. Their kids play really hard. They're very well coached, so we're going to have to bring our A game. There are no slouches on our schedule. I told our guys, the schedule's unforgiving. It's like, yeah, we're right there and we're competing. We just haven't, played well enough to get over the hump. So this is another one we're going to have to go. There's no two ways about it. We're going over there, and they're probably preaching a lot of the same things we are this week, being 0-3 coming in. But so it's going to be a good one. It's going to be a classic, Centerville Fairmont football game.
And the final question for you, Coach. Running back Parker Johnson had 181 yards against Lakota East. How do you contain him?
Again, he's a 2-year starter. Played some as a sophomore. They're really good back there, and we saw a good quarterback, really good running quarterback, and good runners for LaSalle on Friday, and did not hold up very well. So we have a lot of things we got to work on. Like I said, the biggest thing for us is we do what we do. We have to minimize how many touches those guys get, because they are talented, even though the score may not show that. We have to do what we do and try to control the clock and not beat ourselves. If we can do that, we've got a shot. So.
All right, Coach. Well, thank you for taking the time once again to speak with me prior to your game against Centerville, and good luck on Friday night.
No problem. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Here we are in week 4 of high school football, but this week starts a new season, if you will, for you folks. It's all GWalk stuff now.
Yes, sir.
And your first opponent's going to be Fairmont. So, since this is your first year in leading the Elks program, can you give an idea of your background in coaching football?
Yeah, I think this is my 27th year coaching. I've been in four different states and 7 different programs. I came to Centerville in 2010, and I went to South Carolina for a year, and then I was a head coach at Butler High School for 3 years in that time frame.
All right. So as a follow-up, how about your teaching background, and where do you teach? I think it's here. And what classes do you teach?
Yeah, I teach here at the high school. I'm an intervention specialist in the special education program. I deal with my kids are they call them the emotionally disturbed kids. So like it would be like anything ranging from some minor behaviors to some pretty severe anxiety and those types of things.
Okay, Centerville has always played a tough non-conference schedule. This year, playing teams from Cincinnati and Indiana. What are your thoughts about doing that?
Oh, I love it. I think it creates a sense of urgency in the summertime. Like we know we have to be ready right off the get-go. One of the great things about being a part of the Centerville program is that other great teams, want to play us, and we also get everyone's best game. So we played one of the top 2 or 3 teams in the state of Indiana, and then we went down to Cincinnati and played one of the top 2 or 3 teams in Ohio, and Lakota East, who is one of the better teams in the GMC this year. So it's part of the deal here. If you want to be a part of our program, if you want to be the best, you got to play the best.
The second leading rusher in the conference is senior Parker Johnson, who had 181 yards against Lakota East. Can you tell what kind of a runner he is?
He is I call him that he's like a bowling ball with arms. You know, he's short. He's probably 5'8", about 210. Strong as an ox. He's got quick feet. Great burst and acceleration. Runs behind his pads very well. Very intelligent football player. He's really starting to get a feel for the new offense and where the holes are going to hit, and he's doing a good job of setting up his blocks. He's very good in between the tackles.
Okay, and then senior quarterback Shane Cole has had to play from behind all year. Can you tell us about the year he's had so far?
I think, Shane, we're on our second offensive coordinator already this year. And Shane has done a wonderful job of adjusting to a new scheme. He's a constant leader. He's a highly competitive kid. He's a very tough kid. I think he's done a very good job of managing the offense. He's done a very good job of leading through adversity. He's a kid with a strong arm, highly competitive, very athletic. I think he's just setting himself up for a heck of a 7-game run here.
All right. If I didn't mention it before, I want to make sure I put your name out. You're John Puckett.
Yeah.
Correct?
Yes.
You are the head coach for the Centerville Elks. I may have said that earlier, but I want to make sure we get that in. Okay. On defense, I'm going to ask you about 3 leading tacklers. First, the junior defensive back, A.J. Taylor.
Okay. AJ is actually a linebacker. He's our field side inside backer, which has got to be the most athletic of the 2 inside linebackers. He's still learning. It's his first year starting. On defense this year, we've had 8 first-year starters playing the bear of a schedule we've had, and we've had some growing pains. But AJ's unbelievably athletic, very smart kid. Like, he's a plus 4.0 GPA guy. He's got a good feel for the game, an athletic blitzer. And he's a great kid. He's one of those lead by examples. He has a quiet confidence about himself. Very tough kid. One of our big weight room guys.
Okay. Next, the senior linebacker Lucas Mullinger.
Yeah, Luke is a kind of a throwback guy. He's a guy that could have played on the '84 Centerville team that Coach Dave Miller was a quarterback of. He can play in the box. He can play in space. Natural leader. Kids gravitate towards him. He's very positive. He knows when to hold guys accountable, but he's also very next play oriented. Great instincts for the position. He just finds the ball everywhere he's at.
Okay, and finally, a senior defensive back, Travis Wilbanks.
Yeah, Travis is another guy that's his first year starting for us. He kind of played in a sub-package role last year. He's probably put on about 20 pounds from last year. I think last year he's probably 6'3" and 170 pounds. This year he's 190. Runs well, very smart kid. Ironically, he's in the automotive tech program at Fairmont High School. And he's just a kid that has been waiting his time, and now he's got his opportunity, and he's making the most of it. Got great ball skills, good feet. He's looking to play the next level. He's had a heck of a year for us to start off.
Okay, the final question for you. As for Fairmont, 3 narrow defeats. What are your impressions?
Oh, I mean, it's a Dave Miller, coach team. I mean, they're tough. They're going to do what they do regardless of what you do. Their offensive line comes firing off the ball with a lot of speed and a lot of violence. Their running backs run hard. They don't run out of bounds. They want to keep the game, the clock moving. They want to shorten the game, limit your possessions. So they're going to try to figure out ways that you're going to lose the game before they go and try to win it. And but they're a tough, disciplined football team. That is, it's going to be a heck of a game Friday night. I mean, we're going to have to play at a very high level. We're going to have to match their discipline. And I think the toughest team will win.
All right, Coach. Well, that's all I have for you today, but I want to wish you good luck on Friday night.
Okay, thank you.